Hey guys, I read 80 books last year, and I am going to review all of them. I don't know, I saw people doing this on TikTok. Okay, the first one was The Rachel Incident. I thought that was a good book. It's about, um, like early 2000s Ireland is when it's set in, and this girl, like, falls in love with her professor or something like that. I read it in January, so I remember liking it a lot. Would recommend. Simplexity by Kylie Reid. I ended up reading her other books, which I liked more, so I wouldn't like read this one as the first book. It was like commissioned by Amazon, I think, for her to write it. It was a short story about like working in a corporate environment. I think there's like workplace racism involved. Don't remember. Oh, when no one was watching, I think it's about like um it's like Get Out, like white people doing scary shit to black people. Um and it's like gentrification but scarier. Sentience by Nicholas Humphrey, I don't remember what that's about. I think it's about AI. Having and Being Had, it's about it's a bunch of short essays. I don't usually read short essays or like essay collections, but I remember that being pretty good. I liked um what she wrote about. I think the subject matter was just like having things, but also like being in community. The Lies You Wrote, don't remember what that's about. Come and Get It by Kylie Reid. This was her first book, I think, and I liked it more than Simplexity. Would recommend. It's it's like this lady goes to a college to interview people for an article, but they don't know they're being interviewed for the article. And then it gets a little bit weird. Upcountry by Chin Sun Lee. Don't remember what that's about. Greta and Valden. It's about a brother and a sister in New Zealand, and they're both like going through shit in their lives. I don't know if I would describe it as slice of life, but that's like the vibe. Kill for Love, don't remember what that's about. Such a Fun Age, I think is also Kylie Reid. Also remember it being good, but don't remember the plot. Bottoms Up and the Devil Laughs. It's pretty short. It's about this whistleblower. Don't remember what she whistleblew, but there's a movie starring Sydney Sweeney. What did she whistleblow about? You know, obviously something fucked up that the government did, but I think she's like the person who's gotten the longest sentence for whistleblowing based on a true story. The Fake, I think it's like if you like the Anna Delvey series, you would like this, but it's like fiction. Pretty as a Picture by Elizabeth Little. Don't remember what that one's about. Daughters of the New Year. This one was a bit trippy. It's like 3 Vietnamese daughters, I think, and it's like reality, and then suddenly it's like not really. All I remember from here is that one of the sisters is on like this universe's like a dating show, like The Bachelor. Cory Doctorow, Red Team Blues, really switched up from like girly stuff, and then this guy who I think I don't remember what this one was about, but the other Cory Doctorow book I read, The Bezel, is about a forensic accountant. So this must be like about that same forensic accountant because it's a series. Green Dot, this girl basically like pines the whole book for this guy that has a wife. And I guess I can't say more because I'll spoil it, but the green dot represents like the dot you see when someone's online. If you've gone through the feeling of like, oh, they left me on red, that's a book that will make you remember that. So yeah, The Bezel. I guess since I remember that book more, I would recommend that one. Worry is about this person's little sister coming to live with her in New York. Um, Also kind of slice of lifey. The Extinction of Irina Ray. This book was kind of trippy. It's about a bunch of translators coming together to this author's house. Like they always translate for her in these specific languages. They don't go by their names, they go by like the language they translate. And she's like missing, so they have to try and find her. It's a weird one. Like I don't get the ending, but whatever. The List of Suspicious Things. I had a like multiple bursts of like murder mystery phases, but like cozy British like Richard Osman type books I was trying to look for. So there's this one, then the Beach Hut Murders. Is This Okay? One Woman's Search for Connection Online. Sounds like a great plot. Read it, don't remember much of what was in there. One of the Good Guys, it's told from the point of view of this guy who's like, I'm such a nice guy. Why is my wife not wanting to have babies with me? And then you read more and you realize like that's why your wife doesn't want to have babies with you. But the girl, I remember the main character is like Malaysian, but she's in London for a fellowship or something like that. And it's just like her time there. It like ends with her having to go back to wherever she came from, but not Malaysia, because her grandma is sick. A magical girl, I can't say girl, you know, I cannot say girl. Magical girl retires. This one's about someone who is in like a lot of credit card debt, and then I guess magical girls are a thing, like they are like Sailor Moon type things, but this one, her credit card becomes her magical wand, and she like can control time or something like that, but I don't think she's like happy about being a magical girl. Don't remember. Piglet, it's, I think the time span is within like someone's wedding weekend, and like the main character like needs to make a cake for her wedding, and she goes kind of crazy about it. No, not a cake, she has to make like 1,000 baked goods. I don't remember what baked good, but yeah, pretty good book. I think I enjoyed it. I think my favorite this year was The Ministry of Time. There is a government agency, a ministry in, I think it's set around 2070, because they talk about COVID or like the pandemic. Yeah, but they found a way to like time travel, and they bring people from the past who would have died. So like people from actual historical events, like the Terror, I think, this boat that tried to like travel through the Arctic or something, and then like got stuck in the ice, and then people tried to walk off it and they just like died. So they take a guy from there into present day 2070-ish, and then they pair these people with these people are called expats because they're from a different time, they're expatriates from a different time, and they pair them with like bridges, so like diplomats from present day to show them, to integrate them into modern society. It's good. It talks about like time travel, which is cool. Colonialism. The main character, it's kind of like based on the author, I think, because she's like Cambodian but also British. And what else does it talk about? It's also a love story, so that's cute. The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. The premise is that this lady is married, and then her attic, every time her husband goes up, a new husband will come down. So it's like, oh, when do I settle? Or no, like, you know, when is someone, I think it's like an allegory of like dating and how there's always like someone better out there because we have so many options these days. and like how to be at peace with the choice you make, and like, yeah, stop being a brat about trying to meet the perfect guy. Vagabond, main character is like a lawyer slash rapper and it's just like her time in, pretty sure she lives in LA, like juggling the two, but more on the music industry side. New Teeth by Simon Rich. It's also a collection of stories. I know there's a baby in there, like a boss baby character, but really that's all I remember vibes wise. Ali Smith, companion piece. Someone and their dad and a painting. That's all I remember. House by the Cerulean Sea. Heard about this book for a long time. Finally read it. It was cute. It reminds me of these books I used to read when I was younger, where there's like monsters and then they live in a like boarding school type of thing. How Far the Light Reaches, also a collection of short stories, but it's kind of like memoir-ish. The author was, I think, raised in the Bay Area, and it grapples, I don't know, it talks about their like journey, like queerness, and but they tell it in the form like while also explaining like different sea creatures. The Fury is a murder mystery whodunit type of thing, with drama. That's all I'll say about it. Bad Men, another murder mystery type thing, but or no, she's a serial killer. That's all I remember. Trust and Safety and The Very Nice Box. These books were both written by this like author duo, which is really cool because it's like reminds me of Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's partnership. Trust and Safety is about, okay, these books are both really good. So Trust and Safety, this couple buys a house and get to know their neighbors who are like hippy dippy types, and then the main character like gets involved with them, blah blah blah, and then the twist at the end I quite liked. The Very Nice Box was the first book that this author duo wrote, and it's this girl who works in, like, I want to say it's IKEA, basically it's their IKEA, but she works in the R&D department, and she just lost, well, it's been like a couple years since she lost her like fiance, and then she gets a new manager and he like brings her out of her shell, and you think it's a love story, but then there's a twist at the end as well. So these guys, good with their twists. Apartment by Teddy Wayne. This was just like recommended on one of the secondhand book sites, so I got it on my Kindle, and it's just about this guy who lets his broke friend from Idaho or somewhere in the Midwest move in with him into his apartment, and like roommate dynamics. If you've ever had a roommate situation that's story worthy, that will probably resonate. Fruit of the Dead, it's kind of like a modern retelling of the story of Persephone and Hades, all that, but like in this story, the Hades character is like a pharmaceutical executive, and Persephone is like a teenage girl who like agrees to babysit his kids but not tell her mom. So her mom in this story like has to find her. Oh, and her mom in this story is like an environmental nonprofit executive director. So yeah, very accurate to the vibes of the Greek myth. Ruth Ware, I think I read a bunch of Ruth Ware because I was on the plane, and it's very like, no offense to Ruth Ware, maybe offense to Ruth Ware, it's like brain dead reading. It's like junk food for your brain. The It Girl and The Trend of the Key, The Woman in Cabin 10, all murder, all like, ooh, what's going on, plot twist. Yeah, cool. Then I read 2 books by Catherine Newman. I think it's out of order because I like opened the other book again. But Sandwich, which I really liked, it was I think it's called Sandwich because they're on vacation and she makes a lot of sandwiches, but it talks about being a mom, um, like having grown up kids, but also like remembering what they were like when they were younger and like all the shit you had to go through raising them. Kind of made me like, not baby fever, but it's like, you know, you'll come out on the other side of whatever you go through when you start being a parent. We all want impossible things. I don't know if this is like, no, I think it's a novel. It's not autobiographical, but it's about the main character's friend dying and just the process of like being in hospice with her and how they're able to give her a loving send off, how they handle it with her like son, her young son, and her husband, and just like the community that gathers around you when it's your time to go. Wait is about, I think they're two Brazilian American sisters, but their mom isn't a citizen and she gets not deported, but she like leaves the country and can't come back, and it's about how they go through that, I guess. Family by Laurie Frankel. It's pretty good. I saw it on the shelves at the bookstore nearby. It's about adoption and yeah, like how you make your own family, I guess. The Reappearance of Rachel Price. Holly Jackson, I think I read her books when I was younger, maybe, like, I might be thinking of Holly Black. But yeah, someone's mom is, well, the main character's mom is apparently dead, but then she comes back. And it's crazy, but I guess the plot twist, or like the plot twist was like, kind of maybe predictable. No, it wasn't actually, but not satisfying. The Coin, it's about this Palestinian lady who lives in New York. She's a teacher, and she gets like suddenly really obsessed with being clean, and she feels like there's a coin stuck in the back of her like neck, and yeah, it's just her daily life as a teacher and like trying to be clean, and like some of the guys that she's going out with. I don't know, it felt like a good read, but kind of like you're spaced out when you're going through it. Good Material by Dolly Alderton. I see this author's name around a lot, but I'm glad this is the first book of hers. It's the only book of hers that I've read. It's told from the perspective of a guy who just got dumped by his girlfriend, and he goes through like all the stages of grief, all the random stuff he tries, like going on dating apps, blah blah blah. He's also like a stand-up comedian, so that's why the title is Good Material, because it's like, oh, this breakup is good material for a show. And I think like towards the end, like 3/4 of the way through, there's the stand-up comedy show occurs, and his ex-girlfriend goes and watches it, and then the story switches to go from her perspective, and then she talks through her side of the story for the breakup, which is a sweet ending. The Winner, it's one of those like not Knives Out, The Glass Onion, where your rich friend brings you to an island. Don't remember how it ends though. But it's Teddy Wayne, the guy who wrote The Apartment, the roommates one. So I don't know, it was good enough that I wanted to read more of his stuff, I guess. Or was it the other way around? Whatever. Godwin is about this guy who's trying to find soccer for Americans, prodigy in Africa. And it's like, oh, like, I have a video clip of this guy, this little kid playing really good soccer. Where is this place? We have to find, like, what country in Africa it is, blah, blah, blah. This guy, like, leaves his job to go do this, for his brother. I don't know. It was weirder than I expected. Okay, it was an okay read. How to Leave the House by Nathan Newman. Just like very anxiety fueled. This guy just ordered a package, but he doesn't want his mom to see what's in it. but the package didn't arrive at his house and he has to leave for college, so he's like going around his little town. Different characters pop up that he knows, like, I don't know, his principal or his teacher or his priest, whatever. It was okay. It was an okay book. But it's, I guess, if you've been through the experience of like seeing everyone before you leave for college, but you're leaving for college later than all your peers, that's what the main character was going through. Glorious Pursuits was pretty good. It's about how, shit, I don't remember which city in Greece it was, but these guys captured a bunch of Athenians and put them in a hole. I think it's Syracuse, like Syracusians put them in a hole, and this one guy is like, oh man, that means like we're never gonna see like plays like they did in Athens again. Let's make these guys perform for us. So it's just two guys, the main character and his buddy. They become producers for this play, and yeah, it's pretty funny. And it's Greek myth but written by an Irish person, and I really feel like Irish writers are so funny, and like they have a way of bringing out the humor in every situation. I liked it. Would recommend. Catalina reminds me of Wait. This girl has undocumented grandparents in America who she lives with, and she's trying to be a writer or something. So yeah. Don't know if I'd recommend. Long Island Compromise. This guy gets kidnapped, and the story is about how his whole family like copes with it. I think it's based loosely on a true story of guy who gets kidnapped, ransom gets paid, he comes back. He's more traumatized in the book than in real life, allegedly. The Art of Learning, it's by this like guy who was a chess prodigy at a very young age, and he also has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which is why I picked up this book. Intimacy, like I've been trying to remember what this novel was about, don't remember, by Katie Kitamura if you want to look it up. The Second Stranger, mystery type book, because so this person's at a lodge, they're like the only one working, and they only have one customer, they're all snowed in, and then a cop shows up saying like there's a bad guy on the loose, and then a second cop shows up saying he's the same cop as the first cop, so one of those guys is the bad guy, and we're like, who is it? A Gentleman and a Thief is about true story. I think in the 90s, when's the jazz age? Not the 90s, the 20s, that era, I don't know. 50s? The jazz age. True story of this guy who would just like climb into people's houses, take their jewelry, and then go. Like no violence, no nothing. That's why he's called a gentleman thief. He ends up confessing his crimes because he fell in love and he didn't want his girlfriend lady to get accused. So that was sweet. He put himself in jail for her, but also escaped jail to be with her because I think she was like dying of a disease. Yeah, so he left, they went on the run together, and he got put in jail like 2 years before she died, which is sad, but at least they got that time together. Blue Sisters, I read it's by Coco Malors. I read Cleopatra and Frankenstein last year, and I've been seeing Blue Sisters around, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the mood to read this, but apparently I was sometime this year. It's about 4 sisters, one of them died, and then 3 of them are like grieving with or coping with the loss, like on the 1-year anniversary of her death. The characters are pretty well fleshed out. The oldest sister is a recovering alcoholic who's like unsure about having kids with her wife, who really wants kids. The second sister was like a boxing champ who got fucked up because she did a fight after she found her sister dead. And then the last sister, I think the 4th one, because the 3rd one passed away. The 4th sister is a model and a drug addict. It sounds really depressing, and it is, but they get better towards the end of the book. The Serial Killer Guide to San Francisco. I think I only read this because I live here, and I don't know, we got the Golden State Killer here. The main character is a true crime tour person, like not a podcaster. She like brings people on tours around SF, like here's where the serial killer lives or all this shit happened. Apparently, Stephen used to live in the same apartment complex as the detectives who were working on the Zodiac Killer case. Fun fact. I hope this finds you well. This one was funny. It's by Natalie Sue. It's about this girl who is like so upset at work. She puts like P.S. I hate you. You stink, you know, like bad things about her colleagues in white text at the bottom of emails, and she gets caught, and then she has to go through like HR mandatory training. And then like she falls in love with the HR guy. Oops. So that's fun. The Rich People Have Gone Away. I remember starting this and then realizing it was like, oh shit, it's like COVID related. I don't like reading books that are like strongly influenced by the pandemic, I think, because I'm like, it's so overdone. You know, if it's a small plot point, whatever. But it's about people who like flee New York, go upstate, and I think this couple, like this guy gets mad at his wife, and then she gets scared and runs away in a motel, and everyone's trying to look for her. Yeah, ended up being pretty good, but at the start I was like, it's kind of weird. Edge Case by YZ Chin. It's two Malaysians who meet in, I think, New York. They both work for tech companies. They both are like trying to get their H1Bs, but the guy disappears, and the wife, who's the main character, is like, where is my husband? Did he go back to Malaysia? Aren't we waiting for our H1Bs? And then it turns out he's like into some mystic shit because he lost his dad and he thinks he can communicate with his dad. I don't know. It was a pretty good book. Lisa Scottoloni, Every 15 Minutes. This was recommended by Stephen's grandparents. It's pretty good. It's about... Oh shit, Stephen's coming home. Oh my god, this is 27 minutes. It is 80 books. This is about a therapist or a doctor, psychotherapist, whose patient is like, and every 15 minutes he says he's gonna kill someone if they don't comply with his demands. Help Wanted. I picked this book up at the SF library when I was just like chilling, waiting for a friend, I think. And it's about how like this middle manager is leaving the company. So all the like the company is like a Walmart type of thing. And all the sub employees are like vying for that position. And it ended up being a pretty good, like nice, heartwarming read. So I liked it. To Say Nothing of the Dog. This is like a time travel agent situation, and there was a rift in the space-time continuum basically, and they have to figure out what the rift was and like fix it. And I think this was written a long time ago, so I have a bad habit of only wanting to read books written in the last 5 years, but this was pretty good. I liked it. Molly McGee, author's name, it's on top, so I thought it was the title, but the title is Jonathan Abernathy, You Are Kind. And homie has like massive debt, the most debt in the world. Like the introduction says, like if his debt was a country, it would have like the GDP of a small island. I don't know, because he like inherited his parents' debt when they died. So basically the government was like, hey, if you do this job for us, your debt will be like excused for now, and you get paid $20 a night. And the job is, you go into people's dreams and take out the bad parts of their dreams so that they're more efficient workers for corporate America. Like the corporations pay for these dream extractions. So yeah, woo, creepy. The Serviceberry. It's by the author of Braiding Sweetgrass, but it's a much smaller book, and it's about. Wait, so before this book, I read Orbital by Samantha Harvey. Is this the only physical book I fully read this year? Highly recommend. It's my first or second favorite book of the year, up there with Ministry of Time. It's about, I think, 6 astronauts in space. Yeah, and this goes through a 24-hour day for them, but it's 16 orbits in a day, so they have 16 sunrises and sunsets, and the astronauts are from different countries, and they have different lives, and then you learn about them. It's a small book, but I really liked it. Good book, and I like the cover too. That's what got me attracted to the book in the first place. Okay. And then I read The Serviceberry, which gave me the same vibes as Orbital. Like, we are all in an ecosystem with each other. We give gifts to each other. Nature gives us gifts. We give gifts back to nature, and like everything is abundant. And be nice to the trees outside. Rental House by Weike Wang is about this couple and the vacations they go on with their in-laws. They're an interracial couple, Oxford study. But yeah, it's funny because like the white husband is like trying to learn Chinese too, or was. Free Food for Millionaires is about this Korean girl. She's like Korean American, trying to figure her life out. She has poor parents, but she's trying to work on Wall Street and go to business school. And she has problems. I don't remember what her problems are. She's a shopaholic. Did not expect to like this book. Been seeing it around. Liked it a lot. All Her Fault. Mystery book. This kid goes missing. Twist was good at the end. Kid goes missing, and it's the perspective of like the kid's mom, his classmate's mom. Cause, okay, so how it goes is like, his mom's like, oh, I'm gonna pick you up from your play date. He was never at the play date. So it starts like that, and then the twist is good. Missing White Woman. Shit, this one was kind of like confusing, but it's told from the perspective of a Black protagonist. She goes on a trip with her boyfriend, who is also Black, and she wakes up one day, because he's like a workaholic, so he's kind of like working while they're on vacation, so she's like, what the hell, man? And she wakes up and she finds a dead body of a white woman. No, this whole time there's a white woman who's missing. You see like posters, everyone in the neighborhood's like putting up flyers, and because she was like a dog walker for the neighborhood, and this TikTok influencer is making it like a big case. She's like going on TikTok live every day, maybe it's Instagram live. She's going on live on one of those platforms every day talking about this case. And then she sees the dead body there, and she's like, oh no, what? And she calls the cops, but then they start looking at her and start accusing her boyfriend, who's like, she can't find either, and it ends in a weird way, but it's an okay book. The God of the Woods, I also did not expect to like, but it was good. The setting is a camp, and the owners of the camp, they're like rich people, sent their daughter to the camp, and she goes missing one night, and it's told from the perspective of the mom of the daughter, the best friend, or the friend she made at camp, the cop who's on the case, all women, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, and the camp counselor who's like in trouble because she was supposed to be watching her. So I think, yeah, those 4 perspectives, and it all comes together really nicely at the end. The girl who went missing, her brother also went missing like 11 years ago, maybe, before she was born. Like, she wouldn't have been born if her brother didn't get lost, because they're like, you only need 1 heir when you are rich, otherwise there's too many complications. Yeah, but because he went missing, they had to have another kid, and it was a daughter. Boo, daughters. Kidding. But yeah, I like this book. I like the ending. The twist was good for me. The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels. Um, it's told, like, I don't love this format anymore. I used to like it a lot when I was younger, like in my teens, early teens, where it's told in just like WhatsApp screenshots or transcripts or letters, like correspondence between people, and you kind of piece things together. There's no real narration. Um, but it was good. It's this journalist who's racing another journalist to find the this baby who was the center of a suicide cult, because they thought the baby was the Antichrist, and because they couldn't kill the baby, they killed themselves. But that's the story. Like, the plot twist, twisted. Okay. Ooh, I don't think I want to tell you that I read this book. Okay. I need you to read this. Is about this like agony aunt character who dies and then is replaced by our protagonist, and she has to figure out who killed her before she gets killed herself. And then I read, I don't have it right now because I left it in Missouri. I bought it at a Barnes and Noble there. Dopamine Nation by, I don't remember the doctor's name anymore, but a doctor who helps people with addiction. And yeah, it was interesting to learn about how like dopamine works in our brains and how addiction works and how to get rid of addiction. And that was 36 minutes. 80 books of 2024. I don't know if that was all of it. I have 80 on the Kindle and then two physical books, I guess. So 82.